What's up, everyone? Dan here, Crypto Capital Venture, May 17th, 2019. I hope you're doing well. If you're a replay viewer, go to the timestamps below in the pinned comment, and you can kind of go right to when the charts begin. Just going to give it a second to get started, and want to just check my mic. Hey, what's up, everybody? I hope everybody's doing well. I see some people in the chat. Tech Lords, what's up, man? Thank you for coming by. Man, I feel like a huge percent of the time you're always first. I see Steven Herzog is here. What's up, dude? I haven't seen you in a while. Jordan Young from Northern Ireland is here. What's up, Jordan? Ryan's here. Walter. What's up, people? Crypto Fire. Thanks for coming by. Crypto Knight says, I got wrecked last night. Mr. Quack is here. Holland. Cheers from Holland. What's up, Holland? So, pretty much nothing new. Nothing new going on in Bitcoin. We were just in the 6,000s, right? So I want to talk about, this video is, and I'll timestamp this. I wasn't going to make this a really long live stream. I'll get really right into it. Parabolic trends. The biggest parabolic trend of all, which is the chart right here that we have, probably the most important one, right? And I think I put something in the description. I basically said, many Bitcoin longs are invested because they realize the long-term parabolic trend of Bitcoin. This requires patience, but is best risk reward if you can be long on Bitcoin price. Short-term, parabolic trends are dangerous because they involve the emotionality of the market. And that's really what I wanted to talk about. Parabolic trends on the short term, right? So this is the weekly zoomed out. We can go to the weekly zoomed in, and you get a little bit more of a better idea. And we'll go to the daily in a second, but these moves, they're extremely predictable, right? But at the same time, they're dangerous because of the emotionality that is involved in them, right? And I'm talking at a very surface level. You can go on Twitter, you can go on YouTube, and you can very clearly, it screams at you off of the screen in the comments. You can see the people being emotional. When we're getting some ridiculous gains, we start seeing, people FOMOing in real time. I had a comment the other day, like, somebody was calling for Litecoin to $300 in a few days or something. And it's things like that are dangerous, right? So I tweet a lot about pullbacks because, historically they always happen. It's not like I'm some rocket science technical analyst. But I do it because the charts really just historically show us that we get these little parabolic trends, right? So what I did was I zoomed in on the last bear market, right? And we can really, and we've done this, right? We've compared the last bear market to where we are. We can compare so many moves in Bitcoin. We can compare the bull markets, right? We can compare the bull markets of 2017 to where we are if we want, because they speak to something that is extremely important, which is overextension. Bitcoin in its parabolic moves gets way overextended, and then it consolidates. It comes down hard. It goes up fast and aggressively, hence the parabolic moves, right? But it's an exponential, it's a quick move to the upside, but you better believe it will not last forever. So we get corrections. So we can really get context into what's going on. I tweeted, when we were on our way up, when the markets were beautiful a few days ago, it was May 14th, I said, this is when I went live a few days ago, I said live to talk about the most popular thing in Bitcoin that gets all the likes. I was just being sarcastic. A Bitcoin pullback. If you follow my technical analysis, I'm always talking about pullbacks. always talking about upside too. I give upside, I give downside targets, everybody. But there's probably a little bit more energy or power in the way that I talk about pullbacks, because like I said, pullbacks are when I take action, right? When we're seeing parabolic moves to the upside, I'm literally just enjoying the ride. I'm tweeting, I'm enjoying, social media with crypto enthusiasts like yourselves. I'm enjoying the ride to the upside. I'm not doing anything. If I was somebody that shorts Bitcoin, then I'd be getting ready. I'd be anticipating things. When am I going to short Bitcoin? But I'm not. I'm enjoying because I'm long. But when I'm talking about pullbacks, that's just so I can anticipate accumulation. I don't want to sound like a broken record. I know a lot of you know that, but for anybody new here, that's why I do technical analysis. That's why I do these videos, just to kind of give insight into my approach. So here's the last bear market. Here's just a couple parabolic moves that Bitcoin had, right? And we've been talking about both of these moves. There was one in November of 2015 and another in June, right? And you can see both of these, right? This swing high that we had in November, from swing high to swing low the following week, we're talking over 40%, right? A 40% move to the downside. Mind you, when we were getting this upside, the beginning of this move, many people probably FOMOing in here and probably getting very emotional, right? But what's very important that you can do is avoid looking at this green beautiful line, right? Avoid looking at those crazy gains. If you can look more objectively, more conservatively at what's actually going on, you'll see a very important thing happening. You'll see Bitcoin is becoming very overextended from this blue line, which is the 50-week moving average on this chart, right? So at that time, Bitcoin was, and we talked about this, almost 100% overextended from that line. When that happens, you have to anticipate a big move back down. Even if you're going to continue a parabolic trend, everybody, even if this was to continue, say this actual parabolic move continued for another couple months, and it actually went to $1,600 at the top of this curve, you're going to get huge pullbacks because you're going to keep getting overextended, not only from the 50 moving average, but you're going to get overextended from a very important data point that you now have, which is the actual curve itself. And you're going to get pulled back to it. You're going to keep getting pulled back to it in consolidation on the way up until something extremely important happens. We break through the parabolic trend. And the reason why I say it's important to break through a short-term parabolic trend is because if we want this chart, if we want the long chart for Bitcoin to play out, if you're out there right now, and I know many of you are, and you want $1 million Bitcoin, you want a $250,000 Bitcoin, then the importance of consolidation and pullback in times like this, and I'll go to currently where we are on the chart, pullbacks in times like this are important, right, for that to happen. So that's why I'm saying it's extremely important to be patient. So here we had a parabolic move, which, what did it do? Now, this is what's cool about the charts, is because we can look at, if we zoom in, we can look at, the 40% moves to the downside, right? And we have another one over here in the June swing high to a swing low, another 40% to the downside. We can look at those as negative, right? I'm sure many people were feeling it when it was happening. But if we look at what was actually happening on the charts, you see something extremely clear. Number one, you see huge support above the 50-week moving average, right? But you also see continuation patterns, right? So not only did Bitcoin at this time in the last bear market exit the bear market, right? Part of exiting the bear market and part of these 40% pullbacks were these continuation patterns, right? We have a symmetrical triangle. We have higher lows and lower highs. And it's a continuation of Bitcoin bulls stepping in. Part of that continuation, part of forming bullish continuation patterns like the symmetrical triangle. Perhaps you can have an ascending triangle. Part of getting these continuation bullish patterns are pullbacks. And oftentimes, the only way to form a continuation pattern that is bullish, if you're having insane gains, right here, to form an actual real continuation pattern, like for here, for instance, a symmetrical triangle, to form a higher low, start forming a lower trend line, you have to have big pullbacks, right? So that's what happens in Bitcoin in these parabolic short-term trends. So that was the weekly chart. Now here is that same time frame, June, on the daily chart. So let's see what happened in that last bear market from parabolic swing high. We had this first on the daily chart, 30% to the downside move. And again, we had a little bit of support at the 50 moving average until actually breaking back down. And we talked about this the other day, through the 50 moving average to the 200 moving average down here. But what does that continuation pattern that we just looked at on the weekly chart, what does it look like on the daily chart? It's pretty simple. I mean, you can take a quick trend line, not perfect or anything, but we have a symmetrical triangle forming. And what happened? Bitcoin broke through the upside for continuation of the bull market, right? So while all this looks messy and extremely emotional, if you're living in this time period from June 2016 to August, 2 months, August 3rd, 2016, June 6th, 2016, 2 months, if you're living in that and you're living in that downside, 40% downside, it's emotional, but long-term, extremely necessary and actually very bullish. So right now, as we're sitting here and we're testing, $7,000. It was very nice when we broke above $7,000. We're testing it now. We have to start considering the same type of moves for Bitcoin, namely a short-term parabolic move, but also the anticipation that we're going to actually break through to the downside, that parabolic trend line, that curve, right? So when that happens, not going to sit here, not going to tell you when I think it's going to happen. But what I want to say is anticipate it happening. And in these upward moves, right? So this trend line goes actually to like 14,000. Could that happen? 100%, right? Bitcoin can 2 times itself literally in the next week or two if it wanted to. Not going to sit here and say that's not going to happen. But I did a live stream the other day, namely because we were overextended, a Bitcoin pullback 3 days ago. Why was I starting to think about that? We're becoming overextended. We're becoming overbought on the daily and the weekly oscillators. So even if it's a short-term pullback and a continuation up, that's why I was anticipating that. And definitely not the most, it's not the most, what would you say, popular opinion, but it is what it is, and it's worked very well for me. Now, we obviously have this pretty strong wick down to like $6,100 that just happened yesterday, and currently from previous swing high to where we are now, we're at a 26% to the downside in a couple days. So that's a really strong move to the downside. If I change this to the weekly chart, I think right now it's very indecisive what's going to happen. Bitcoin can certainly continue in the short-term move to the upside. If it does, it will eventually fade out, and there's going to be consolidation. Whether it's now or whether it's in the future, maybe, end of June, right? We're going to get consolidation. And that's going to look very similar to the charts we were just looking at back here. The consolidation in those upward moves. What does that look like? It's simple. What do we want it to look like? It's simple. We want it to look like a continuation pattern. So let's assume, for argument's sake, that we hit our swing high, right? For the the short term, meaning the next couple months or so. And now we're going to have a period of consolidation and continuation of these bulls that have stepped in. Well, what we're going to do over the next couple months or so is start looking for some type of continuation pattern, so we can plot out a potential symmetrical triangle, which is exactly what we just looked at that happened in that last bull market. See, that's what it looks like. Took a couple months, it came into formation. But just so you know, and this triangle doesn't have to go back here, it can go to the 50-week moving average, right? So that's why a pullback even to $5,500 from these levels is extremely 100% possible. So that's not because I'm bearish, actually, it's because I'm bullish. So if from the levels we're trading right now, I'm anticipating further downside, right, to the 50-week moving average and another 22% to the downside. If anything, it's because I'm more bullish on Bitcoin and not so much bearish, right? It's because I'm anticipating a longer term parabolic move. So we have the history of the charts in the last move. We don't have anything yet. We can only anticipate and give it our best shot of guessing, but it would probably look something like this, right? This is what these little short-term parabolic moves mean for us. And if you look at a breakout out of the, this is completely theoretical, everybody. This is just me plotting out and anticipating a continuation pattern. But we're talking, fall into winter of 2019, getting the continuation that everybody wants, right? So maybe just the next parabolic move after some consolidation happening, end of summer, fall, winter, whatever, and then we're breaking $20,000, and then we're breaking all-time highs. It might take until the end of 2019. It might take until early 2020. I think that's more likely than us just continuing up right now, parabolic, and just breaking all-time highs in the next month or two. I don't think that's going to happen. I would love to just sit here and plot out some beautiful theory for you that says it's about to happen, but this is what you see on my screen, more of my theory, right? And so if this is my theory, this all ties back together to say one thing. When we get these swing highs, what do I want to do? What do I want to be available and ready to do? Is I want to accumulate when we're down here at the bottom of some type of bullish continuation pattern. I don't want to buy here at $8,500, a few days ago or 2 days ago, whenever it was. I want to buy down here. And the difference in that is not only like 35%, it's also an emotional thing. It's a mental thing. And that is exactly why I look to buy the dips. It's 100% why I look to buy the dips. So those are my thoughts. I really wanted to talk about the parabolic trends of Bitcoin in this context more on the short term, because they happen all the time. In the last bear market, you can see it happening, right? But I want to throw this out to you as well. If we look at the daily chart, we go to the daily chart. And this is for all you bulls out there. All the people that want this current parabolic trend on the short term to continue. We might have gotten a nice bounce and we could get continuation. We could test $10,000 in the next few days. One thing that is good to see on the daily oscillator, the RSI, is a pullback, right? We're out of that overbought area. So now there's more room for upside if we do get some support here around the $7,000 area. But time will tell, and that's something that, we have to just look out for. If we go and zoom out now, and we're back in that last bear market, and we look at, if I can find it, the daily chart. Let me get back here. So here are those continuation patterns coming out of the last bear market. What happened to get those bullish continuation patterns? We bounced out of overbought, and now if you can look at the middle of my screen, we bounced out off of overbought and got consolidation to form those patterns. Out of overbought, consolidation, forming those bullish continuation patterns. So similarly, what are we doing right now? We've bounced out of overbought on current RSI, momentum oscillator, And right now, potentially could be the beginning of a bullish continuation pattern. Pullbacks happen, everybody. 30% pullbacks. They happen literally all the time. I'm nothing special for, talking about it and then it happening. I just like to remind you about it, I guess. I like to put it at the forefront of your mind because they happen so often, and I know it gets easy to forget about it. I know it gets easy to just keep refreshing your wallets. But if there's opportunity to accumulate when we're down 26%, like right now, if we're down even further, 40%, right? If we revisit the 200 moving average, 47%, that will be bullish, in my opinion. That will be the beginning, the very beginning of an important and larger continuation pattern. I'm telling you, this is just the beginning, everybody. So whether it is $4,100, $4,400, $5,500, or right now $7,000, this is the beginning. Prices, I believe, are going to go crazy, right? But if you look at the charts, it's going to take a little bit of time. So be patient, hang in there, anticipate the dips. I really will never stop talking about it because this is where you make money. And I think it's probably the one of the strongest technical analysis approaches in cryptocurrency, especially if you're long and especially if you're patient. Those are my thoughts. I saw a super chat come in. I want to just kind of find it. Toby Reeves, Dan the Man, really cautioned us. Well, as always, so transparent. Thank you. Thank God for you, sir. Toby, thank you for a $10 super chat for the LAUNCHPAD Foundation. Thank you for coming by and hanging out and your kind words. It means a lot. I didn't forget about you. I saw that come in. So that's it, everybody. Let's see what happens next. I'm enjoying the ride. I don't know what else to say. I'm 100% enjoying this ride. And pullbacks like this, I enjoy them as well, especially when they're playing into, in my mind, a very bullish continuation pattern. This is the beginning of the bulls, everybody. You see it on the screen. Little pullbacks, big pullbacks, huge pullbacks, 50% pullbacks. They don't mean a thing. I assure you, I truly believe they don't mean a thing. None of this is financial advice. Take the data that I'm throwing at you, make your own decisions. Don't listen to YouTubers. I will say that. And that's it. Steven Herzog, enjoying the ride and your time here with us. Thanks, dude. Appreciate you, man. Just hanging out with me. But that's all. Everybody, right now, I know probably there's a good portion of you that are here right now, not subscribers. Hit the subscribe button. Support the channel a little bit. Let me know I'm doing something right. I appreciate you. I will see you all in the next video. Follow me on Twitter. If you're on Twitter, Crypto Capital Venture, Crypto Recruiter, you'll find me. And I hope you have a great rest of the day. God bless.